Good morning everyone, I am Tanvi Chan and today I am going to tell you about a very important topic of class 9th social science democracy. Before starting with the topic democracy, I would like to ask you a simple question that, for example, our school is planning to go on a picnic. Who do you think will decide the destination? The class teacher, the class monitor, or a group of people should be voting collectively to decide the place? Many of the people will go for the option number 3. Why? Because in this option we have the choice to elect, right, through the process of voting. So yes, democracy is a form of government in which people elect their own representative through the process of casting their vote. Now we will be discussing about the two types of democracy. Those are direct democracy and representative democracy. Representative type of democracy is often to be called as indirect form of democracy. Now I'll be explaining what is direct form of democracy. In direct form of democracy, people have the right to elect their leaders directly. They can vote their leaders directly. For example, they can vote to the Prime Minister and President. Whereas if we talk about indirect or representative kind of democracy, in this people choose their own representatives. They are the representatives on the behalf of the public and they speak on our concerns in the parliaments. We cannot vote directly to the specific leader, for example, Prime Minister or President. Now there will be a question in your mind, why this kind of democracy cannot be practiced in entire world? The reasons are, for example, a country like India with its huge population, it is not feasible for every individual to gather at a specific place at a specific time, and they take decisions on the behalf of every individual. There would be chaos, there would be disagreements. So that is why we have opted for representative kind of democracy. Whereas if we talk about direct democracy, such democracies happen in a country with less population. For example, Switzerland. Because the people are less in number, it is feasible for them to take a decision individually. Now we will be discussing about the pillars of democracy. First being the legislature. The first pillar of the democracy is legislature. It introduces the law. It makes the law. In this, laws are being introduced in the parliament and they are being deliberately discussed. It is comprises of a parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha on the central level, and there are state legislature on the state level. Now comes the second pillar of the democracy, that is executive. Executive is very important part of the democracy as it implements and enforces the law made by the legislature. It is comprises of Prime Minister, President and several government officials. The third pillar of democracy is judiciary. Judiciary is very necessary because it interprets the law, it enforces the law, it takes care of the law. It also protects the citizens' right. It ensures equality before law to every individual. It also guarantees 6 fundamental rights. It is also known as dispenser of justice, as in the eyes of Constitution, every individual to be held before the law. Do you know what is the fourth pillar of democracy? That is media. Media is very important pillar of the democracy as it makes the government accountable. It spread awareness on alarming situations. For example, what is happening right now. It tells you a day-to-day situation, what is going around the world. And that makes the country accountable, the government accountable. After reading all the pillars of democracy, we have taken a chance to acknowledge that all the levels of government, whether it's legislature, executive, judiciary, they're all separate and they works accordingly. We see that the separation of powers, what we call it a power sharing. All the organs of the government shares power among themselves and they also works interdependently. This is what makes Indian Constitution more accountable to each other. All the pillars of democracy and the idea behind it works under the provision of Constitution. The Indian Constitution is the world's largest written document surviving. The Constitution of India was adopted on 26 November 1949 and it came into force on 26 January 1950. India has a largest democracy in the world, over practicing around 140 crores of people. Now that we know what is democracy, we should also be being aware about who are the people who are asked here to cast their votes. So these are the people of Indian descent. They have to be the citizen of India. They are supposed to be 18 or 18 years plus of age, and this all works around a universal adult franchisee principle, in which people who are 18 or above the age of 18, they have the right to cast their vote to the candidates or to the representatives. If we go back to the ancient time to trace the roots of democracy, we'll find in the Vedic period that democracy exists. Under then, as we know that Sabha and Samiti used to exist in the Vedic period, there were multiple rulers who have to hold their assemblies in the form of Sabha and Samitis. They collectively make the decision-making process easy. This reflects that democracy and participation by the people is not something alien to us. It has roots deep down in the ancient times as well. To conclude the topic, the democracy is the better form of the government than the rest. The answer would be that democracy is a form of government which makes the government accountable. It makes the government responsible for the work that they have done in their tenure of 5 years. If people are not happy with their work, they can move out of the government anytime. And democracy also gives peaceful ways to make a resolution and solution among any conflict.